everyone, Board Game Brody here with Meeple Mountain. I have a copy of Destinies. This is an app-driven board game by Lucky Duck Games. I'm here to tell you 7 things that you need to know about this game. Number 1, an overview. Destinies is an app-driven storytelling game.
It was a dark night in the dead of winter.
That can be competitive with 2 to 3 players, played solo using 2 different modes, and it has a 2 versus 2 option as well. The base game includes 5 scenarios, with 4 of them being connected into a campaign. Players will choose a character to play as, and during the game, that character can take 2 different paths to win. Players will be performing tasks needed to fulfill one of their character's chosen destinies. Players will start by reading the back of their character cards, giving them some idea of what these destinies might be about, but will be able to ask other characters that they meet during the game about their own destinies, pointing them to where they might need to go. Number 2, the map. Players will start the game having some of the map's tiles flipped face down, showing that they are undiscovered, and ones that are flipped up being discovered. As players explore, you will flip over map tiles, possibly adding additional tiles face down next to it, adding any points of interest. The app will explain everything that you need to do, but a point of interest is represented by either a miniature or by a token. These will be places on that tile where you can decide to interact in some way. When interacting with this point of interest, the app will provide all the possible options that you can choose from. Some may actually disappear after you make initial choices, where others might appear because of your choices. Number 3, the dice. Players all have 3 skills: intelligence, dexterity, and power. Players will have tokens placed on certain numbers of those stats, and the more tokens towards the left, the lower numbers, the more powerful that skill is. Players will be performing skill checks when interacting with the point of interest. When doing this, the player will always roll the 2 big white dice and can add any of the smaller purple dice as they desire that are not already exhausted. The white dice are always used and are never exhausted, whereas the purple dice become exhausted after each use. At the beginning of each turn, a player will be able to refresh one of their purple effort dice, and certain choices and interactions in the game can also cause refreshing of additional dice or sometimes exhausting of your dice. Anyways, the player will decide to roll the 2 white dice and any purple effort dice that they would like or can. That player will count up the total value shown on all of their dice. They will then visit their player board and find the relevant skill that they are testing. And for each token that they have on or below the rolled value is considered a success. Also, to keep in mind, one face on the purple die has an automatic success that can be added to the total as well. You will then be able to enter the number of successes into the app, and it will explain to you what happens and if you succeeded or not. You won't ever really know how many successes that you need for each test, but from the context of the story or the situation, you might be able to guess. Here is a chart that shows the difficulty levels and how many successes that you might need to pass them. Number 4, experience. The game will usually award you with new items or a stat upgrade. Upgrades will show that type of skill with an arrow pointing towards the left. This will let you move one of the tokens of that skill down so that when you roll dice, your chances of more successes in that category is more likely. You might also have to make choices that causes your skills to become worse, moving the chosen token to the right. Every character will start with different skill stats, and during the game, these will all be changing. The game seems to reward players with items that they might need to complete a destiny when succeeding in a challenge. When failing, they might have to drop down 1 in a skill, but will gain an experience token. These tokens are used at any time before a skill check to move a chosen token to the left, making that skill more powerful. So overall, the game is very rewarding. If you fail and don't succeed in the skill check, you still are progressing in the game, just in a different way. But the skill check system is very innovative. It works very well with the game, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see more of this in future games. Number 5, scanning the app. When players visit a point of interest, they might have the opportunity to scan one of their items. The app will indicate if you are scanning it to talk about it or to use it in some way. There is a pile of different items to be used in the game, even with some items having multiples. But just like Chronicles of Crime, the game uses a QR code to scan and the app will respond to that scan. This includes asking others about your destiny, inquiring about either the purple or the yellow destiny. They will in return most likely give you information on where or how you can further that destiny that you scanned. The responses are always read out loud so that every player can hear, but it is worded in an indirect way, giving you more information that you need and makes them harder to understand for your opponents so that they don't know what your destiny is. Keep in mind that some choices might make you choose to either scan an item or to perform a test to achieve the same result. Using the right item will give an automatic success when using it in the right way, where giving the wrong item will cause an automatic fail. Likewise, a skill test will only be successful if you get a certain number of successes from rolling your dice. And out of these two ways, only one will be allowed per turn. Number 6. The item cards. There is a huge stack of these item cards that can be brought into the game. Items will either be a one-time use or will always give a benefit if equipped. It will list this on the card. Players can only have 5 items equipped at a time, and if a player needs to drop an item to make room for another, they will drop that item on the tile where they are currently located and marking it with the token so anyone else, including them later in the game, can come and pick up that item. Items will sometimes be useful to fulfill a destiny. Items can also be bought and sold when you find a merchant willing to do so. The price is listed on the top right of those cards. Usually all items will help in some way or another to fulfill skill checks, helping with re-rolling your dice, or increasing in a skill if you do something specific stated on that card. All items are different but can help in different ways. These cards also seem to wrap mechanics together nicely as they are scannable, connecting the cards very nicely with the app, and they affect your skills, wrapping them to the skill system to make these items relevant and important. Number 7, my thoughts on the game. Wow, this game is such a fun experience that so many people will enjoy. This is what I've been wanting ever since I first played Betrayal at House on the Hill. This game has a great storyline that you're going to be unraveling, and it has exploration when flipping over map tiles to see what is located there. It has character building as a character's skills can be upgraded in a unique way. It has items that can be found, used, bought, sold. It has a dice rolling system where not all challenges will be successful, as you might roll low numbers, but you can also get lucky and roll high numbers to do better than you expected. But you also have ways to mitigate the luck from the dice roll by using certain items or by gaining experience to get better stats for your character. And also that dice rolling, it sometimes gives you a little sense of a push your luck using more dice at times, but also keeps you grounded as to how well you most likely will perform in that skill check. You will also want to determine when you want to use your purple dice. You might not want to do it in the first roll on your turn because after you discover something, you might have something more important to choose from that might require more of those purple dice to succeed with. And with all of those things I've already stated, the most important thing is it does all this stuff that I've mentioned and what we want and love, and it does it all using an app, and it gives players almost no overhead. The ease of entry is very low and easy to do, so the game will appeal to more people. The app actually kind of hides all that fiddly stuff that you might expect to normally see present in a game like this. And so what you actually see when you're playing the game is a very polished gem. The app makes the game dynamic without putting in extra time of playing the game, and it still keeps the game easy to play. It will also remember your choices of what you choose during the game, and later on, it will affect what choices you have by the choices that you did earlier in the game. And this might not be possible if not using an app. Plus, the app makes things very easy to add additional things to the game later on if needed. Overall, the game is a very positive experience for all players. No one is going to be punished in this game for choosing wrong things. You'll just gain experience, making your stats better so that things will be easier and you will succeed in the future. The game really is for 1 to 3 players, but you most likely wouldn't want to play a game like this with 4 because of all the downtime during the other players' turns. But still, players should listen to the choices of all other players because the location that they are exploring might be a location where you need to be according to your destiny. The components in the game are very nice. I love the art on the map tiles. The item cards all make sense and look good. And the minis are very neat. Yes, it takes extra time to find which one the game is asking for, and then returning them to the right spot in the box is almost impossible. But it helps add to the theme and the story when you actually have other minis on the board. And these minis are used in various ways throughout the game. They aren't just a one-time use for one scenario. If you like storytelling, character building, RPG type games, this one needs to be on top of your list, especially if you are tired of spending all that extra time setting up a game. This game will just blow your mind how fast and easy it is to get going. So fulfill your destiny with your family and friends in playing Destinies by Lucky Duck Games. Again, this is Board Game Brody. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stick around and check out some other board game reviews to see what you might want to get to the table.